Sometimes a medical condition or injury happens suddenly, leaving a person temporarily unable to walk comfortably or safely for long distances. In situations like these, many people wonder whether it is possible to obtain an emergency disabled parking permit. The short answer is that while most states do not officially issue something called an emergency permit, many do offer temporary disability parking permits that can be approved relatively quickly when a medical condition requires immediate mobility assistance. Understanding how these temporary permits work can help individuals get the support they need during recovery or unexpected health challenges. A disabled parking permit allows individuals with qualifying mobility impairments to park in designated accessible parking spaces. These spaces are typically located closer to building entrances and often provide additional room for safely entering or exiting a vehicle. For someone dealing with an injury, surgery recovery, or sudden illness, walking long distances across large parking lots can be painful, exhausting, or even dangerous. A temporary disability parking permit helps reduce those challenges by allowing closer and safer access to buildings and services. Although the term emergency permit is sometimes used informally, most states classify these situations under temporary disability parking permits. These permits are designed for people who are expected to recover from their condition after a certain period of time. Common situations that may qualify for a temporary permit include recovering from surgery, broken bones or fractures, severe sprains or ligament injuries, temporary mobility loss, or medical conditions that limit walking during treatment or recovery. Temporary permits are typically issued for a limited period, often ranging from several weeks to several months depending on the condition and state regulations. The process of obtaining a temporary disability parking permit is generally similar to applying for a permanent permit, but the timeline may be faster if the medical need is urgent. The first step usually involves consulting a licensed healthcare provider. A doctor, nurse practitioner, or other authorized medical professional must evaluate the individual's condition and confirm that it significantly limits mobility. The healthcare provider will typically complete a section of the permit application that certifies the nature of the medical condition and indicates that the individual qualifies for a temporary disability parking permit. Once the medical certification is completed, the application can be submitted to the appropriate state agency. In most cases, this is the Department of Motor Vehicles or a similar transportation authority. Depending on the state, applications may be submitted in several different ways. Some states allow applications to be submitted in person at local motor vehicle offices. Others allow the forms to be mailed to the agency for processing. Increasingly, many states also allow online applications, which can significantly speed up the process. Applying online or visiting a local office may allow the permit to be issued more quickly, which can be helpful when someone is dealing with an urgent mobility limitation. Once the application is reviewed and approved, the temporary disability parking permit is issued. The permit typically includes an expiration date that reflects the expected duration of the individual's condition. After receiving the permit, it must be displayed clearly whenever the vehicle is parked in an accessible parking space. Display instructions vary by state, but the permit must always be visible so that parking enforcement officers can verify its validity. It is important to understand that temporary permits provide the same parking privileges as permanent permits while they are valid. This means individuals with temporary permits can use designated accessible parking spaces, provided they follow all applicable rules and display requirements. However, once the permit expires, it can no longer be used legally. If mobility limitations continue beyond the expiration date, the individual may need to apply for a renewal or obtain a new medical certification. Temporary disability parking permits are especially important for people recovering from surgeries such as knee replacements, hip surgeries, or spinal procedures. During recovery, walking long distances may slow healing or increase pain. Similarly, individuals with broken legs, foot injuries, or severe sprains may rely on crutches or other mobility aids for several weeks or months. In these cases, accessible parking can significantly reduce strain during recovery. Temporary permits can also benefit individuals undergoing medical treatments that affect mobility or energy levels. Certain treatments may cause fatigue, dizziness, or weakness that makes walking long distances difficult. By allowing closer parking access, temporary permits help individuals maintain independence while managing their health. It is important to remember that disability parking permits are issued to individuals, not vehicles. This means the permit can usually be used in any vehicle as long as the person to whom the permit was issued is present in the vehicle. However, the permit should never be used by friends or family members when the eligible individual is not present. Misuse of a disability parking permit can result in fines, penalties, or revocation of parking privileges. Some people hesitate to apply for a temporary permit because they believe their condition is not serious enough, or because they feel uncomfortable using accessible parking. However, these permits exist specifically to support individuals who are temporarily unable to walk comfortably or safely. Using a temporary permit during recovery can help prevent further injury, reduce pain, and make everyday tasks more manageable. Another important consideration is planning ahead. If a surgery or medical procedure is scheduled, it may be helpful to discuss parking permit options with your healthcare provider before the procedure. This allows time to complete the application process so the permit is available when it is needed most. In cases where an injury occurs unexpectedly, contacting your healthcare provider as soon as possible can help begin the application process quickly. Accessible parking spaces play an important role in helping individuals maintain mobility and independence during challenging periods. Temporary disability parking permits provide essential support for people dealing with short-term medical conditions that limit walking ability. While emergency permits may not exist as a separate category in most states, temporary disability parking permits serve the same purpose by offering accessible parking privileges during recovery or medical treatment. By understanding how these permits work and applying through the proper channels, individuals can access the accommodations they need while focusing on healing and recovery. Accessible parking is not just about convenience. It is about ensuring that people with temporary or long-term mobility limitations can continue participating in everyday activities safely and with greater ease. We hope this video helped answer your questions. If you need a handicapped placard or plate and want to avoid the confusion and long wait times, visit handicappedparking.com. Our licensed doctors are available online to help you from the comfort of your home, making the process simple and stress-free. Subscribe for more helpful information on disabled parking permits, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.